What is up guys, Wraec is here with a new video, and today we want to have a look at the Fortress SL30. We actually cleared that quite some time ago live on stream, which was quite a fun stream I have to say. Always enjoy those anyway, so that one was no different. In any way, this SL proved to be quite difficult. This is mainly because of the enemies. I would have thought this SL would have been a lot easier, because way back I actually cleared SL30 Fortress the first day it was released, and I had plans to do the same here, so I aimed for that SL pretty early and I got demolished when they released SL30s first. I was quite, I don't want to say depressing, because that's not true. I could live with it. All SLs were way more difficult. The SL26, 27, those were way more difficult when they released than the SL25s back then. So that was a little different anyway. It was quite alright. But what made this really difficult is really the abilities of the enemies. Those are quite mean in SL26 to 30, because all of them get some extra abilities. That's the case with all SLs, but like in Fortress, I feel they have gotten extra strong abilities. So, starting off with the mages, as you can see on the screen right now, those are the 4 mages. The mages basically have a chance to freeze you with their active and their basic skill, and beyond that, with every active or basic skill, they steal attack from your heroes. So if you get hit a lot of times, you will end up doing very low damage, which isn't what you want. So SFX dodge coming in clutch here and helping you get beyond that. Another thing is their passive skill. Their passive skill is really mean. There are 2 effects to it. The first effect being that they reduce your energy by 20 every round. So they reduce the energy on 3 random enemies by 20 every round. So it would have actually been quite good to run crowns on our team here, and I kind of missed that, I have to say. So if you fight this level, run crowns on your team to make them survive longer. Beyond that, every time one of your heroes dies, they will actually horrify you and deal damage to you. So even more reason to run crowns on like the 5 other heroes beyond SFX that you run. I would recommend running the melodic strings though. Getting a kill on one enemy early on can help you dodge the rest of the attacks and is quite helpful. Next up are the warriors. The warriors are more about CC and dealing damage than really about draining your stats. They have a chance to freeze and to horrify you with each their basic and their active skill. And this actually makes them quite dangerous because they can double CC you, which will be rather mean. If you can get some CC on them with Star Alchemist Homes, like the Perceptual Disorder as you can see in the video right now, or some dose, that will definitely help. And of course, being faster than them is kind of a necessity to actually deal damage. Unless you want to get your stats drained beyond imagination, you should definitely attack before them. The passive for those enemies is also rather nasty, though I feel like a little bit weaker than the mages one. Those warriors actually deal 100% extra damage to horrified targets and 100% extra damage to frozen targets, which is kind of a nasty ability considering at that level they have about 600% extra holy damage, which is the SL buffs those enemies have. So getting another 100% multiplicative with that is kind of insane. Still, the energy drain from the mages felt the most nasty, and in the next level, of course, we have the combination of both, which is, regarding the tactics for the enemy team, pretty good combination. They fit pretty well together. The skill set add quite well to each other. And again, I would recommend crowns. As you can see, there was a little cut, so we kind of needed a few attempts for that one. But even with crowns, those enemies are very strong and will often kill off your heroes. We used energy on the Star Alchemist Homes here to get the CC on one of the heroes. The bad thing about this, of course, is that it CC'd like the lowest life hero that we were killing off anyway. So that wasn't that nice. I would still recommend melodic strings here. Getting off the early kill is definitely quite good. If you can make the rest of your team survive, that's even better. Though I think in this SL30, on like the SL30 itself, it is rather unlikely to have your team survive with our current gear and everything. What could help you, and I would recommend having that, is of course the Star Alchemist home score. We used the SFX score, which adds some all damage dealt and some an AMB-like effect to the rest of the team. But the Star Alchemist home score would have really helped, one, to buff our SFX with some attack, and to keep our team alive with heals, which would have been absolutely huge and would have helped quite a lot. I didn't have it, but if you have it, that is actually an option. Beyond that, we now have to fight the boss. The boss itself is a warrior again. He can deal quite a lot of stuff. First of all, he has a chance to freeze. Then he has HP-based damage. He has 20% of the current HP of your heroes as damage. Then he will tag them with a round mark. And then for every layer of shield a target has, he gets an additional 1000% of attack damage, so he has quite a lot of abilities. With his active skill, he actually has a chance to freeze and horrify as well. And he will gain all damage reduction while losing HP, which always seems like a very strong ability, but then again, most of the time it really isn't. In combat, it doesn't feel as strong as it seems on the paper. What is strong though are his two abilities to reduce your stats. First of all, every time he's basically taking damage, he will reduce your speed by 50 for 2 rounds and your attack by 20. So we have another stage where our stats get drained, which is rather annoying, but still you could see the kill here, and it's mainly carried by dodges. And we have to talk about dodges a bit, because that is the sublimation of SFX, and we have only good sublimations on SFX, but one of the really good ones is the passive 2 sublimation. That is one that you should definitely get. While I would recommend all of those, and we used all of those sublimations, the passive 2 sublimation is really one that helped quite a lot, because it gives you 25% chance to obtain an extra layer of sharpness that will help you dodge an extra time. And this extra dodge will actually keep your stats intact. As you can see, the passive 2 is actually the 3rd branch, and here you can see the ability I was talking about, 25% chance to obtain an extra layer of sharpness, which is SFX dodge skill effect, which will allow her to, with 100% chance to dodge the next enemy attack. And this actually is quite a nice ability and will help you clear Fortress SL by dodging enemy attacks that will otherwise drain your stats. Beyond that, there are a lot of other good abilities in there. I made a review about them if you want to check them out. 1 or 2 more we can talk about. This one, of course, every time we gain impeccable flow, we will also gain 50 energy. Considering there's energy drain from the enemies, this effect might actually help us do an active skill, so it's also quite huge, quite a good ability. Beyond that, we have a lot of damage in the active and basic skill sublimation, so every sublimation you can get for SFX will basically help you. Alongside of that, we also used Giant Killer SFX, of course. This was the role I had. We had Giant Killer and 2 defensive stats, so that is something to keep in mind. You could go with more offensive stats on your copy if you have a Giant Killer copy. It's a decent copy, 6000 attack is quite nice, good speed value as well. Regarding the imprints, we stayed with the crit chance for the most time. Opponents don't really reduce crit, are vulnerable to crit, so we can use that to up our damage by quite a lot. Keep in mind though, they will reduce your attack, and of course that will cripple your crits as well. So it's really mostly about dodging and dealing enough damage early on to get rid of 1 or 2 enemies to really get SFX in that zone where you can dodge all or most of the enemy's attack and kill them before those 15 rounds end. Regarding the stone, you need most likely need a speed stone. Otherwise you can't outspeed the enemies. If you can't outspeed the enemies, they will hit you, and if they hit you, you will of course get your stats drained before you can attack, and this will actually make you deal significantly less damage. I still use the melodic strings. Some people said like, yeah, I'll use an Endless Cane, but the problem with Endless Cane in my opinion is that you will deal much less damage early on, and getting the early kill on one of the enemies can be really crucial to winning this fight or to losing in the end. If you of course have a way bigger SFX than I have, which might be the case, some people have, You might go with a different artifact and go for some more tankiness with like an A and B, which will give you some more blocks. And blocks can be nice as well, because like with every block we of course, where is it? Don't let me lie. With 5 successful dodges or blocks, we will also gain impeccable flow. And if you take a look at the active skill or the basic skill, with impeccable flow, it's always basically double the damage and some health restoration as well. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. If you want to have a look at the full video, the live stream I did this on is still on my channel, and you can check that out if you want. In any way, guys, I wish you a great week, and we will see us in the next one.